Okay, you guys, we are back. We are back. Donovan Sadiq show, the last show we were on that you guys just heard from, that was unapologetic. So I kind of have like 2 or 3 different podcasts, and I like to split them up so you guys can have a very, very different opinion and look at the different shows, right? Right. I'm Donovan Sadiq. Welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in. There's a lot of podcasts out there, but nobody in the city of Moreno Valley is doing what the IE Informer does, and that is who I am, the IE Informer. I'm informing you guys about these candidates here in Moreno Valley, in RCC, and the Inland Empire. We are talking to RCC candidate Daryl, Mr. Mayor Terrell, who's running for RCC Trustee 5, correct?
Yes.
Trustee 5.
5, yes.
Representing Moreno Valley. I think, personally, not only is Daryl a good friend of mine, but I think he is properly suited for this position because, number one, he is an alumni. He went to RCC. He didn't just get a degree from some college and I'm academically this and I'm Dr. So-and-so, and you got all these people wearing their titles. Daryl doesn't wear titles. Daryl is a person just like yourself. So I want you guys to think about this. If you're a student out there, if you're a parent that's listening to this program right now, wouldn't you want somebody like yourself to be on that board to make the decisions that need to be made? How many people that have titles of doctor are sitting on all of these school boards all over the place, and yet our graduation rates are atrocious, yet they do absolutely nothing but go to their meetings, and our children are failing. They're just failing. So if you think you can do a better job, which I'm very sure you most likely can, I look at Daryl Terrell, somebody that would be me. Just a regular person that's using his common sense, thinking outside of the box, and saying, why can't we do this, instead of saying the budget and what we can't do, okay? So right now, what we're talking about is students. We are talking about the students because I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride. You guys remember that song? That was by George Benson, by the way. It was made famous in the Nutty Professor. No. Coming to America.
Yeah,
Coming to America. Right. A sexual chocolate. So in all seriousness, though, Daryl, let's get to it. I want to talk about the students. Okay, I want to talk about the students.
I got
you. Real quick, one of the most important aspects is in Moreno Valley is Dreamers. Mm-hmm. It's sitting in the Supreme Court. They're debating that still in the Supreme Court, if that is a legal type situation. So these kids are kind of in a limbo. But while they're waiting to see what is going to happen, how is it that we can get more resources to make sure that while these kids are waiting, because what if they do say, yeah, you guys are good to go, you're legal citizens and everything like that, they're not wasting time. How can we get them more resources so that they can get the fundamental education that they need and be successful in the community that they represent?
Well, at Moreno Valley College, they have a dream center, and what that does, it provides undocumented students with a variety of resources, with like a local legal center to provide undocumented with free legal advice workshops. Okay, and so that's part of the limit, because what particular organization here in Pennsylvania, it's called TODEC, and it's a legal center that provides local residents free DACA renewal application, legal and USAID help, and so there's organizations in our community that provide support for our dreams, because, like I said, a lot of the dreamers need a lot of legal advice. So
legal advice help, because I'm not English.
So we have a system that will provide them with the legal advice they need to help them do the DACA application, renewal application, things like that, which, when you got that on your mind, worrying that somebody's going to come in
snatch you up
and deport you, but you need to have a good state of mind, I guess you call it state of mind, or worry-free, that you have the legal advice, because that gives you more confidence.
Okay.
And so that's what this part of what the Dreamers, the center does. It focuses on those type of legal resources and things.
Okay. And so I'm sitting here. I'm in limbo as the dreamer. I brought how they do qualify for state stuff
Yes,
like
they
that. But like I noticed, like in some scholarships and things, certain scholarships, that might not qualify because they don't have, let's say right now, citizenship.
Well, we have to think about the RCC Foundation. See, again, we talked about this before, where they have resources that could help dreamers, like to get financial aid, because the state of California does provide some form of financial resources for dreamers, and when it comes to attending the community college, I think it's AB, if I'm not mistaken, AB 540, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. And that what that does, it helps the students for its fees and things like that. But also too, when you have a center like that, you have also resources for its translation and because a lot of times it's the language barrier,
right?
Because communicating with one another, it's like when I work at Lowe's. There's a communication barrier when I talk to someone whose English is a second language, and it's kind of tough for him. But in a situation where that some people still have a language barrier, it's good to have language folks there that could help them through the language, as far as translations and understanding the legal language and
jargon, right? That's going through. And speaking of languages, okay, I was in the Dominican Republic. Now, you think you have a problem speaking English? Wait till you go to a mainly Hispanic or Latin country and you can't speak any of the language. And the funny thing is, when I was down in the Dominican Republic, I can understand what they were saying, but when I was talking back to them, because a lot of the Spanish here is a lot of street slang to it. Yeah. It was like I say one thing and they're like, "What'd you say?" And I'd say, it was really, really messed up. But what I want to know as a student, when I was a student, is I tried to take Spanish when I got to college, right? I'm thinking, okay, hey, everybody's speaking Spanish. I got to learn to speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
But the Spanish curriculum, you'd had to have taken Spanish in high school. Now, as I'm a black man, but of African descent, I'm at a disadvantage when it comes to opportunities and work. And I look at our black students that are at these schools, and the white students too. Yeah. People that are not Latin, that are not of the Latin descent, they're at a disadvantage because when they apply for jobs, they don't have that extra incentive of speaking Espanol so that they might be getting hired for that job. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they're not dual qualified. Why the hell? Like I told Brandy on the school board from Moreno Valley, what's her name, Brandy Clark?
Yes.
I told Brandy Clark, why do we not have some kind of dual immersion program? So when I went to college, and I think I'm fairly smart. I got 12 degrees. Yeah. So I think I would be fairly successful. Yes. And I'm teaching myself Spanish myself, talking to my neighbors and all that other good stuff. Why is it that when I get on the college level, let's say I have no Spanish whatsoever, I'm just interested in learning Spanish, I cannot truly be successful in Spanish, starting from scratch zero, because I have to have previous Spanish knowledge.
Well, see, here's a perfect example for me. When I went to RCC, I was at a disadvantage because, like many people, I had a chance to take Spanish in high school, and I didn't take no language.
But who thought at 30 years from now this would be the dominant language?
Yeah. But that's the thing about it. But if I wanted to get my degree or transfer to a UC school, I had to take a language.
Okay.
So for me, Spanish was a whole different ballgame. Right. So it's like, the shoe is on the other foot for someone, say for instance, like a person who doesn't know any English. And so I was like in their shoes. So I go in this, I had to learn the basic Spanish.
Right.
And I had no idea. But I did well at it. But the thing was, it took a lot of work, a lot of discipline to do it. But see, when I went to, I can remember, I did good at RC the first year, second year, did pretty good at it because I was in the zone where I was learning the language.
Yeah, you're soaking it up.
But I was speaking to other people, trying to speak to other people. So when I got to UCR, and I was like the big leagues now, trying to learn to go to Spanish, you had to take, I think it was want to say 2 years of Spanish. You have to take a conversational class.
Right.
My God, I thought I wasn't going to make it because...
Well, if you think about it right now, okay, like all my neighbors here where I live in Edgemont, the parents and maybe the grandparents, I don't ask their staff, they're just neighbors to me. They all speak Espanol. They don't speak English.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I'm talking about because, again, for me, if I did it because, number one, like I said, it was a requirement. But if I think, in back of my mind, I said, this could be useful to communicate with other people, that I can learn from other people. And the thing about for us to grow together as a country, we learn from each other. Like history, we learn, it's supposed to be this back and forth type of thing where we understand each other's language. Because if someone speaks to me in Spanish, if I don't know what they're talking about, the first thing happens is I'm sitting there like dumbfounded, and I can understand how they feel when you speak English to them and they don't understand. They're like, I don't know, and then you have to call someone. But I can understand enough Spanish what they're saying, and I can speak to them.
Right.
But it's really slow because I can understand how they feel and how I feel.
Right.
But to go back to your question, I mean, it's like...
Why don't we have an immersion program for those people that are interested at the college level, ground but zero, learn Spanish? Every Spanish course, and a lot of colleges that I've been to, you have to have had high school Spanish or already be immersed in the basics of Spanish.
Well, yeah.
To do it. Why don't we have that? Because, like I said, I see these people get frustrated, especially these young people. They can't get a job because they want you to be... Bilingual,
yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, and see, that's the thing. It's almost like having, again, when we talk about specialized training. If you want a lot of good jobs, you have to know 2 languages.
Sure.
Spanish and English. And because if you say, I know English, but they say, well, do you know Spanish?
Yeah, but the funny thing is, if you go to any country in the world, they speak some form of English.
Yeah.
They know their native stuff. I mean, when I was in Vietnam, they spoke English.
Yeah.
Broken, but they still spoke it. Philippines, you can go anywhere. Dominican Republic, they speak. Everybody around the world, for those of you Americanos that do not travel, other countries speak English as a second language.
But
only in America, and maybe Canada. Well, Canada still has French and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's part of that colony. We teach our kids one language, and then they're at a disadvantage. So here we are, in the Inland Empire.
Yes, I got you.
30, 40 years ago, where there wasn't really a lot of Hispanics here. I mean, there was a lot, but not like it is now.
But that's almost being...
We're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, a disadvantage economically, too.
Right.
Because we miss out on a lot of opportunities.
Right.
Because we don't... It should be a more, like you said, a tool in your toolbox to know another language.
Right. And think about it. Let's say I went to grade school. My parents weren't really big. The school didn't have an immersion program. That ain't your fault. Whatever. You live in a certain area. Now I'm in college. I'm interested in, I see what my future is because it's like, oh, there's this job that's going to pay $60,000. If I could be, bilingual, I can get the job.
Yeah.
I can't get the job because even though I went to RCC and I'm trying to take Spanish, I'm unsuccessful because it's more advanced than where I'm at currently.
Well, yeah, because again, when you go for a job and they ask for bilingual, that should be a more incentive. Not only the fact that to get a job, but also to be able to communicate. Because if people understand each other, the better off we are. But if one person, because don't know what the other person's saying, then how you gonna grow together?
Right, exactly.
And so colleges, like you said, should have dual immersion programs because it's economically it will help that individual, but also make us a better society.
Well, whenever I talk to young people running around here that are like looking listless, this one girl told me she couldn't even get a job at a local restaurant because she didn't speak Spanish. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
well, yeah, because
most of the customers would, coming into this restaurant are Hispanic. So,
well, yeah, that's just part of the norm now.
Yeah,
because
that's the dominant language. That's the dominant people.
Yeah, we live in a different time. Things are changing.
Right.
It's just like I said about and how our industries are growing, and community colleges should be able to meet challenges, should adapt to the changing times. The same thing about languages too, because as you said, Spanish has become, it's almost you must have if you want to.
It's everywhere. I talked to a guy in the DR that was from North Carolina. Big Spanish communities over there. My mom is down in Louisiana that rebuilt down there. A bunch of Guatemalans and stuff like that. They speak Spanish. Big community down there. I mean, it's like you're in your home country.
Yes.
And I don't mean to be any disrespect, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, you're in your home country and you were raised a certain way to speak English and all this great stuff that they tell you. Yeah. Here it is 40, 50 years later, and we have to learn to adapt to another language, which is very difficult for us, but it puts us at a disadvantage. So that's something. Yeah. Go.
Well, yeah, it's like you said, it put us at a disadvantage economically too, and also culturally. It put us, because if we don't know what someone is saying, understand, how can we even work together on anything if we don't understand what each other's talking about?
Right. And we know in some cultures, and I think that's in all cultures. Yeah. You like to talk crap about a person because they don't understand you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and it happens in all cultures. But let me ask you this as a student. We also not only have a large Hispanic population, we have a very wealthy and growing Asian population and Asian students. And you went to UCR, which is predominantly Asians go there as the premier college in California, not just Southern California, in California. A lot of Asians go. I think the demographics of Asians at UCR is like 55% or something like that of the population, if not more. I think it's like 60 in their 60s. So you have the Asian population that is growing. They go to RCTC too. They're very wealthy, as you guys that might not know. The most wealthiest group in the United States is the Asian community. Now, when we say Asian community, you got to break that up into subgroups. You have the Vietnamese, you have the Koreans, you have the Chinese, you have the Japanese, you have the Malaysians, you have the Filipinos. So it breaks up into a lot of groups. But because they practice group economics and group stuff, let's put them together. So the Asian population, what kind of programs and things can we do as a student, to make resources more accessible to the Asians as well that might need it? Because you got some people that go to college, and I've heard this from Asian students, because their parents are so wealthy or have whatever, they don't qualify. So now the student is by themselves, even though they're Asian. They get stereotyped for the fact that hey, you should be rich and smart and all this other stuff. Let me tell you guys something. Not every Asian you meet is good at mathematics. Okay, so what do you think?
Well, like I said, the same thing we do for all people. It's just like the Hispanic for folks that it runs the same thing, because to a lot of folks who may be from an Asian country, that we provide the same I'd say similar resources when it comes to language and to bridge the gap for language and financial resources. Okay. And the things, we could go to RCC Foundation. They got scholarships and things to help out, to support the culture. And so people, because I know my late aunt had students from different like Asian countries, and I can remember that they had some of them was good in English and some were learning English. It's like a second language. But the same thing, it's that same language barrier. So that we have to be more supportive when it comes to providing that bridge, so they could also communicate what's on their mind. Because if you can't communicate, it gets frustrating if you don't know the language. Right, absolutely. So when you want to, like if I was in a different country and I didn't know the language, it'd be frustrating to me. He said, do you know what I mean? And like this, I can understand how they feel. Right.
Can I give you some advice if you're traveling in another country?
What's that?
Because of technology, because that's things have changed from 30, 40 years when we started out, right? Google Translator. It will do wonders if you are, whatever. And if you ever go overseas, please, before you go over there, download an offline map, so that you can not get lost if you're out there and you lose a signal or something like that. I learned that the hard way, and I never did that again. So it's just stuff like that. But let me ask you about this too. You got single mothers out there that want to go back to college because the writing is on the wall right now in regards to eviction process. Do you not know that the number one group of women that is, or not just women, just people being evicted is who?
Well, single parents?
Yeah. Black women.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because black women are strong, independent, and they don't need no man. This is, ladies, if you're listening, you strong, independent black women out there, if you are listening, especially you young ones, this is why you need a man. You guys are the number one people being evicted. So here I am, a young mother. I am facing homelessness. But let's say I'm not facing homelessness. I'm making it. I'm making my payments. But I've decided now, because the writing is on the wall. If I don't get my shit together. Let me say that. It's going to get bad. There's no more playing around now. So now I'm going to go back to school. What resources in your mind, Daryl, that you would provide for single mothers?
Well, Marina Valley College, I think all the RCC, all the three sister colleges have child care. Mm-hmm. They got free child care. So if a mother wants to go to school, they have child care there. So I think it's like free child care.
Okay.
So they can support their education at the same time. So that's one thing. But also too, that we have resources from either like nonprofits or county to be supportive mm-hmm. for us, as if they need shelter or they need a support for like I said, the big thing is child care, because even going to school, child care could be expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. But I got a question right here. Here's a young lady named Tarika. She says she uses the child care system, when she can, when she does go to college and stuff like that, and she's majoring in psychology. Great. But basically, she's saying though, she works during the day. That's where she's making most of her hours. Mm-hmm. So she would have to go to school at night, and there's no daycare that I'm aware of at night. So what kind of resource do you think that you always talk about thinking outside the box. Okay. What about those young parents that have to work during the day?
That works during the day.
Right, and there's no daycare at night. She has to take night classes with the older people, like myself.
Well, okay.
I mean, is there daycare?
Okay, say it again. Say that the young lady is working
during the day.
Working during the day.
She has to work during the day, 40 hours a week, whatever she says she's going to be doing. So that means she has to take classes at night. Are there going to be resources?
Well, here's something in that realm.
Okay.
And this might be more. See, here's the thing. Again, the times are changing. More people are working mm-hmm. in the daytime, and they're going to school at night. Mm-hmm. So they have night. Like I said, they have night classes. But sometimes it may be convenient for a parent that we have more online classes at night. Sure. That could be one thing, because they do have night class. If we have more night classes, then they have a supportive system mm-hmm. with the child care too. Sure. Because if they haven't any of the three schools have a child care, then if a student goes at night, then they have the child care center open at night, so they can do that. Okay,
which makes sense. She just replied to your answer. She said the issue is she would rather go to the school because when she's at home and her kids are at home with her, she can't focus.
Well, in that case, again, they're at night at RCC. If there's not a child care at night, then we need to make one available to be more flexible, so she can go mm-hmm. to school
and not worry about her child.
And child will be there at the child care center at the college, at Marina Valley College.
Okay, well, Tarika, I hope we answered that question for you, and I thank you for giving us that question. Military students, and I'm a big advocate on the military student thing. Military guys have a lot of problems transitioning back from military status to civilians. And when I went to school, of course, I kept trying to go to RCC several times, very unsuccessful, but I finally got it, right. But the problem that I encountered when I went to school was this: I go back to school 4 years later. I'm not 18, coming right out of high school. I am now 23, 24, so I'm a little bit older than my peers. Very intimidating. I'm trying to use a calculator. These kids are using their brain and coming up with answers. So I'm very intimidated by it because the academic theory has changed, whatever the theory is. What programs can we come up with to make the transition for our military members, be it Guard, Reserve, or Active, doesn't matter, a lot easier, like a easier blueprint? Because remember last time we were talking about smart transcripts and how to do all that. So let's say I have my smart transcript or my CCF transcript, and I come in. Even though technically I don't have my general studies, which is why I'm at the junior college to do the general study part of it, and of course get paid for my GI Bill. My status, let's say, is a freshman. But credit-wise, I might be a junior. I mean, how can we, make a pathway so that these military members can, number one, get their degree faster if they have the credits and the acumen to do it, and to give them some kind of support system to make sure that they do pursue the degree and finish it off rather than doing it piecemeal. Now, we're talking about military members that, they're not active duty where they've got to get deployed and all this other stuff. We're not at war right now currently. Yes. So you got weekend warriors, Guard and Reserve members. Okay. They want to help get the degree. Some of them want to go and apply to be officers. You got to have a 4-year degree already or 2-year degree to be warrant officer, whatever. What can we do to make them more successful to complete the program that they're in and the pathway that they're going?
Well, I think the first thing you would have to do, I think you would need I would say a peer counselor, but a military, a veteran who's been through college. It's I would say like a mentor in a sense, a guidance that. Because the thing is, like you're saying, you come into a different environment where the kids are a lot younger and you older, and that could be intimidating. But because of the technology, but the thing is too, but you have a peer that has been through that, and you have the support system at the Veteran Center where you have updated technology. You have a support group there. I would say that kinds of help out in a bit because you have people with similar concerns about competing with these younger kids, and the technology is intimidating. But you have that, then you have the peer counselor, and you have other resources because if you don't know the path you're going to, then it's going to be hard. Right. But if you have a path to say, okay, here's the path you need to take to do this, and like I said, me not being a veteran or just a civilian needs the same kind of pathway where it's a guidance where you take this class, you take this class, you take this class, you go to this pathway. If you take this class, you go to the UC or you go to the CSU or Cal Baptist. Right. So, but my point is, you have to know what the pathway. You gotta have a guided pathway. You gotta have it lit. I'll put it in adjectives like that. People understand.
Yeah, Army talk Pathfinder.
Yeah, because if you don't, you'll just be in the darkness, going
Yeah, you're taking unnecessary classes.
Yeah, and you're frustrated. And so, to me, to get that person immersed into the college life, they'll have more confidence knowing that, hey, if I take this class and the classes I already take is now, it's going to transfer this. This is going to translate into this amount of credit. So all I need is this amount of credit to go. Because as long as you know which path you're going and what classes you need, it builds more confidence into you. So you'll know what you need, and you won't take unnecessary classes to get you to your goal. If that is to transfer on or. Okay. Hope that answered the question.
Yeah, no, that absolutely did. I got a text message from a Chris here. He says that college is not fun. It isn't like the movies anymore. What can you do to, make it more of a college experience, even though it's a JC? I guess that's what he's trying to say. It ain't like at San Diego State where you're partying and they have all these activities going on. Basically. When we went to RCC back in the day, I can say there were some parties at the Tiger's Den and stuff like that, dances. You would go there and do that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, kids, but your music sucks nowadays. So I can understand that. But basically what he's saying is RCC and colleges like that, they don't seem to have a lot of activities in regards for the students.
The thing is because, like I say, some people there are for 2 years, and some people it's not like you're saying going to a 4-year school where sometimes you live on campus because you don't have the housing at the community college. So people are constantly going in and out. But how can you make it fun and everything? You have to have a stronger, we call it ASB program. Because when you say ASB, you're talking about associate students, program board.
Yeah, associate body, yeah.
Yeah, so you need a stronger to provide a lot of activities. But also, I think you have to get the city involved. You got to get the business community. You could have different things like fairs or a market night or a farmer market night or whatever.
Well, I think what he's saying is like social-wise. Like when we were coming up, you could go to the Tigers Den and there's a dance going on and you could meet other students and stuff like that. Just, stuff for young people. And Chris, and let me say this. I know I'm not trying to disrespect you or anything like that. You're a young cat. You're probably a young Thundercat doing your thing. But you got to understand a lot of this stuff was shut down because a lot of young people don't know how to act. And it became more of a problem in regards to like the Metro. There's, the Metro got shut down because the girl got shot in the head and all this other stuff. So a lot of that stuff is self-inflicted, and the liability that the school would, incur in regarding to doing that. So if you would get your homegirls and your homeboys on the right page and get the right people there, I think the school would probably do some kind of activities that's, fairly...
Well, yeah, you got, like I said, you still got to have a strong student body, too, that want the activities. But also, like you were saying, the liability cost, but also at the same time, you got to also, if it's a strong student body organization that sees this need and say, hey, we need this, or to ask the students like yourself and say, hey, what do you want to see? Do you want to see clubs and all this kind of stuff that you ask for? It has to have support for it.
Right.
Because if you're the only person that wants to, do social thing and everybody else is not even, because community college is just more like a commuter situation where people
you just get your general studies and you go to you're preparing to go to the big college.
Yeah, because you're living in the community. You're not staying on campus. The only reason why things have gotten so bad now, I think it has over the years, is you have the pandemic that kind of pushed things along to make it like home and housing insecurity and things like that, where now they're thinking about, okay, we need to build campus housing on community college. Whoever thought of community college having dorms? Because most people lived in apartments or lived at home.
Yeah, right around the edges.
Yeah, so it was the social events that you did have. You may have some dances here and there, but it wasn't like going to be at UCR where it was like you had a miniature city because people stayed they either lived on campus or they lived. Yeah,
it's right around the apartments around the campus.
Yeah, that's a different environment, because when I went to RCC and we went to the football game, it was a where was
homecoming
it?
Or something.
Yeah, homecoming. We went to the game. My friend, I think he lived right around on Linden or
it's right next to the
in that area. Lived over there in that area. So we hung out there at the game and stuff. But other than that, campus life for us was like either going to somebody's house and kicking it or something. We never or if we did go to a dance, we was like, "Are you gonna go?" Nah, it's probably gonna be boring.
Yeah.
Then when you got to the dance, it was like maybe 5 or 6 people there.
Oh man, I don't know when you went, but I'm telling you, when I went, it was lit. When it was lit, I mean, you would go to that Tigers Den. I mean, the girls got their little. That's when you had the VDP and everybody was wearing their medallions and stuff.
But it was like you said, it was different because people, like I said, they were
we knew
more.
How to act. We knew how to act a little bit.
They knew how to act, and they were more active in the school life.
Yeah, but I could see what he's kind of talking about, like the socialization of students, well, because like, okay, let me cut you off, but like, okay, let's say you graduated from Moreno Valley. Mm-hmm. The majority of your friends are going to be at Moreno Valley College when you get there, so so your peers are going. Most of your peers are going to be there with you. Not all of them, but most of them. So it's so you already know people while you're there. But I think what he's trying to hit on is the fact that to meet other people outside of that peer group, in a social setting.
Well, I mean, they can make the opportunity, like you said, they can have the dances or because I mean, like you said, when we grew up, they were like you had the little dances or you had the little They had
meet
people
and
had
greets,
people had meet and greet. They had little social things going on.
Yeah, with the clubs, to
yeah,
do meet and greet or do your thing.
It just had to be initiative, like I said, from the student body that wanted to put on a little dance, a social ice cream social. Because when I went over there to Moreno Valley College like a couple of weeks ago, and it was hot as you know, and they had ice cream social, and there was people.
I remember when they first opened that place, though. God, it was just like it looked like a bare bones operation, you know.
Well, yeah,
and it still does a little bit. But.
Yeah, it still does. Like I said, going to Norco looks like a palace compared to where we are. But the things are, but it's like when the people. It was hard. They say they have free ice cream out there. And it was. This lady was on there screaming. She says, "Y'all get to go over there, get your bag, get some ice cream." And they had people doing fixing necklace, beaded necklace. They was in there under the little shade.
It's almost like they have their own little community out there.
Yeah, and they were doing their thing. I mean, they had that little social. They were trying to get people involved. The lady was screaming on the thing, and the people were doing beads, and people were out there. But it was hot as crap.
Right.
But like I said, it depends on the student leadership out there that wants to have these kind of socials like they did at Moreno Valley College.
Sure. Melina says, could you tell me a reason? What? Could you tell me a reason of why a vote for you would be a good vote?
A good vote for me is the fact that if you want, let's say, you want a better, for instance, if you don't want to live in the poverty life, say you don't want to go to college, say college ain't for you, voting for me, you will get a career path, a tangible career path to a livable wage job in our community. That's number one. Now, if you want to go to college, then we'll make sure you have the resources you need. That meaning, if you need more night classes, we'll find a way to have more night classes. That means that you want books are too much for you, then we'll try to expand the zero net to get more free books for you. But to me, is to make sure you have the resources you need. So you want, if you're homeless, that you have a place to stay. If you're hungry, that we could feed you. But because you can't learn on an empty stomach, you can't learn if you're sleeping in your car, knowing that when you're in the classroom, your stuff, your possessions. So we have to do our part in making you have the necessary needs to be successful. So my question to you is, if you want to go to college, we want to make sure you go to that 4-year school. If college ain't for you, we're going to make sure that you have the tools, the marketable tools that will lead you into a livable wage job from Moreno Valley College. You're just not taking any classes and here's your certificate. We're going to make sure that career path goes into that job that you can pay a livable wage and economic mobility. Right. That's why you should do it.
It's kind of funny that you bring up, like, let's say you got some students that are living in their cars. That's just the reality. And come September, it's going to be bad for a lot of people out there. But when you just said that to me, I was thinking about if I was a student and I was living in my car, which is a reality, I couldn't even use the gym because the pipes and the water is so bad. You know what I mean? I can't take a shower to keep myself clean to go to... To things like that. So, we really got a lot of work to do. And I believe that a trustee has to be ready to go. I mean, you just can't learn as you go. I mean, at this point, you got to come with the goods. So,
well, and speaking of homeless, what they have done at Moreno Valley College and all the colleges in the RCCD system, they have made, they left the gyms open, they left the bathroom open. So if people are homeless, they're a homeless student.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do that kind of stuff. Okay, but to find homes, and like I said before, as I've spoken to you before, that we could do what Imperial Valley College did in creating a tiny home village with wraparound services, working with a nonprofit, with the county, securing resources from the state, so people can have a place to sleep. Now, if they don't have any food, we got to do something with Cal Fresh to make it acceptable on college campus. So when you swipe your card, you could get something to eat. But also, we could work with food service. Let me see, with Family Service Association. They have a bus of fresh food because they do have a pantry at Moreno Valley College, and I think at all the colleges. But we could team up with a nonprofit with Family Service Association that has a fresh food bus. and we could tie up with them too to bring fresh food to the campus.
Right.
In these buses, and they have cheese, they have all the fresh foods that healthy food
that you would need, right?
Yeah, and we could do that.
I got a question for you. You have a lot of these, and I'm talking in the black community right now. You got a lot of women that get these useless degrees, okay? And when I say, and I don't mean to be disrespectful when I say useless. When I say useless degree, you can't build with a psychology degree. Everybody's got a psychology degree, but nobody's working in the psychology field. When I was in the DR, I went and got some therapy and I talked to a therapist, stuff like that. So since these people have these like degrees, and you got a lot of people out here that has trauma, and you got a lot of people that are going to have some coming trauma. What about making these girls that have these degrees easier to get certification to be licensed therapists?
Well, again, if we talked about this, I would say that the college, Reno Valley College, Norco College, and RCC, Riverside City College, could do a good service for that community. And for people like that, is to help pay for their certifications, and to link up with these clinics or these private services, so to put their degrees to use.
Right, but there's not a lot of therapists out there. There really isn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. But we have to make sure that they're taken care of when they take. The financial part is sometimes a barrier for people.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
So we have to do our part in paying for their tests or whatever they need to support part of it, so they can meet the challenge in the community, like you said. People need therapists. Then we could do our part in supporting their efforts to get their license, so they could, if they want to, start a practice maybe, or to team up with someone else.
Right, exactly, or join a clinic.
Exactly.
And make some decent money, and also help a lot of people that need help out here. Because when I'm looking at these homeless people out here, nobody, I can't say that for a fact, but it seems like to me, nobody is helping them in the aspect of the cabeza, in the head. They're getting the food, they're getting the dollar stipends or whatever, but are they getting the tools they need to get off their feet and to get off their addictions or whatever it is, or whatever their trauma is?
And that's a part of the supportive system, that a community college could be, like I say, a change agent. And I mean, thinking outside of the box, just like you just said, paying for it, helping support that person so they can provide that service to the community.
Right, and I'm going to tell you this too, which also be good. An applied associate degree in psychology, right?
Yeah.
Look at all these homeless people that they can actually go out and practice what they're learning in the thing under a certified therapist, whatever, teacher, whoever the thing is, and at the same time they're helping, because that's what they do at the VA.
Well, see, exactly, but that's the thing. Thinking outside of the box thinking. So people don't think like that.
Right.
People think of, well, we can't do that. They put up roadblocks, all that.
Right.
But just like you said, what they're doing at other places could apply at the same place. You just have to tweak it a little bit to make it apply to viable and into the community.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know VA is where a lot of your doctors go to get their residencies. They do their residency through the VA, because where else are you going to have people that have these actual injuries, these gunshot wounds, these ERs, of course, but treating it and going through it.
Apply it. Use what you learn and put it to use.
Right.
And like I said, in our communities are changing. And like I said, we have different challenges. Like you have the infrastructure challenge, you got the homeless challenge, you got all kinds of challenges. And community colleges can play an important role in meeting those challenges.
Absolutely.
Teaming up with the city or the county or whatever nonprofit.
Right.
We can provide the skilled workforce to meet that challenge.
Absolutely. Well, we got 30 seconds left there. Once again, thank you for stopping by and giving us some more of your ideas. Keep those TikToks coming. You guys, this is the Donovan Sadiq Show. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And do not forget, Daryl Terrell is running for Moreno Valley Trustee College.
Oh, in Moreno Valley.
Yeah,
number five,
specifically in Moreno Valley. So, like I said, the Moreno Valley could be changing the game. We are the second biggest city in the county, and yet we're not getting the resources that Daryl is the only candidate talking about, of getting our fair share of the resources. And so I think that you guys really need to check him out. My vote is going to Daryl Terrell. So we're going to see you guys again next week. Enjoy.